Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. The Headspaces are a series of thoughts and musings I have during the course of the week, and I chew all over them and I bring them to you. And this week's Headspace is not so much of a conversation, it's more of, there's an article I wanted to bring to your attention, and then I wanted to just chew over a few of the thoughts around it. It's about the US-Ukraine deal and whether or not the US is going to walk away. So with that in mind, I'm going to entitle this Headspace, Will You Stay, Mr. Trump, or Will You Go? Before I jump into the Headspace, I'd like to thank everyone who's been listening to my show, who's come to it for the last 3 years, who've now subscribed to my YouTube channel. I have 1,093 subscribers, and I'm trying to get to 1,500 and then 2,000. So please do subscribe to the channel so I can be delivered directly into your notifications and inbox, which is absolutely splendid, darling. And then in addition to that, you can also pop over to my website, which is denisehedley.com, which is also the same name of my YouTube channel, and make a donation, because I'm very partial to 3 wings and chips. Or you might want to sponsor a full meal for me at my local Caribbean shop, which is rice, peas, chicken, oxtail, potentially a fried fish, cake and salad and coleslaw, drink and crisps. Thank you so much. So with no further ado, do come back next week. And oh yes, I forgot to say, for those people who are listening on YouTube, the Headspaces are part of my weekly political talk show called the Headley Highlight Show, which is aired every Friday live on X, 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, darlings. So, will you stay or will you go, Mr. Trump? So this is the article. I picked it up from the Times of India, and it says US will walk away unless Russia and Ukraine agree a deal. Now that framing in itself is unfair and also slightly not correct, because the context of this conflict is that Russia is actually winning in the conflict. They are also winning in terms of the diplomatic war because they have pivoted to the global south. They have won the sanctions war because the sanctions didn't really hit. And they have the largest GDP growth in the European nations, and the ruble hasn't tanked. So the narrative of a crumbling Russia is basically fake. And if you're trapped there, poor you. So given that context, the Ukraine is losing. Let's not forget the role of Boris Johnson in stopping the Ukraine, maybe, 100,000 deaths ago, for having a peace deal. Then there was the Istanbul peace deal. Then there was Istanbul plus peace deal. So the Europeans and Zelensky have had ample opportunities to have peace. And currently what's happening is, because Russia said, look, we're not going to have a small cessation and a freezing of the conflict. I rehearsed what the reasons are for that in previous Headspaces. They said you need to deal with the root cause of the issue. And the root cause of the issue is the expansion of NATO, the denazification of Ukraine, and also the depletion of their military might and them not joining NATO. Those are the key conditions. And unless you're coming to the table with that, thank you, but no thank you. There was a mild, I think it was a 30-hour cessation, and that cessation was because Russia is deeply traditional. They have a very strong Orthodox church, and due to the Easter, there was no fighting in the Easter. But that, and the previous ceasefire was broken on both sides. So essentially, it was a case of we're not moving forward. So that is the context against which this article is being set. And I've tried to give you that framing so that when you listen to the article, you can listen to it with a critical eye. So US will walk away unless Russia and Ukraine agree a deal, presuming that title even treats them both as equals, and they're not. Vice President J.D. Vance warned Wednesday that United States would walk away unless Russia and Ukraine agree a peace deal, as envoys from Washington, Kyiv, and European nations gathered for the downgraded talks in Britain. Now, let's not forget that Keir Starmer is a pound shop Churchill, so he's running around the world trying to get the coalition of the willing, and I think now it's down to about 5 countries you can count on one hand. Both Rubio and Trump have warned since that the United States could walk away from the peace talks unless there is a quick progress. And the reason I think this is the case is because I think Mr. Trump is getting very fed up of this issue. Don't forget what he said, if he was in, if he would have solved it within 24 hours. Well, he's been in since the 20th of January and he's getting more and more bogged down in this conflict, despite the fact that he was calling it the Biden war. It's now appearing to be the Trump war. The article goes on, we issued a very explicit proposal to both the Ukrainians and the Russians, and it's time for them to either say yes for the United States to walk away from the process, Vance told reporters in India. So basically, I didn't read that well, but the point he's saying is we gave them the proposal, we told them to say yes, and they haven't done so. And effectively what's happened is, I think one of the reports I saw was that the green T-shirt, Mr. Zelensky, was saying he wanted to effectively say no to all of the conditions in what Mr. Trump proposed. Let's not forget he's got the whole of the European Union backing him, and of course Nosferatu under the British establishment that just won't die and keeps getting involved in so many things, trying to reassert its position in the world, but from the shadows. How very English. US media reported that Donald Trump was ready to accept recognition of the annexed land in Crimea as Russian territory, and Mr. Vance said land swaps would be a fundamental for any deal. Well, that's just common sense, okay? In a negotiation, when you're the losing side, you don't have many cards to negotiate with. And given that that area has already been captured and they've had a referendum and they've decided to be Russian, it's a little bit churlish to suggest that you're not going to, that's off the table. This means the Ukrainians and the Russians are both going to have to give up some territory they currently own, he added. The report said the proposal was first raised at a meeting with European nations in Paris last week, and this is the downgraded exercise that happened in the UK. I'm not actually sure whether or not this deal is going to work, because I think that the Mr. Zelensky, as I refer to him, the sweaty green T-shirt, is backed by the European establishment and also the British establishment. And essentially, he is very much involved in being an asset for them. Let's not forget the 100-year deal, okay? The 100-year deal that the UK struck for the rare earth minerals. They tried to usurp Trump. And then he effectively said, look, your deal's pants, but this is the deal that's on the table, and Zelensky's supposed to sign it. Well, I think he signed it, but I'm really not quite sure why he won't be moving on the question. Well, I know why he's not moving, because he's emboldened by his friends and his allies. But the difficulty is that Donald Trump would potentially and can potentially walk away from this peace deal. And what that's going to mean is that any troops that the coalition of the stupid, that's what it should be called, not the coalition of the willing, the coalition of the stupid deploy, they will be blown up. They will be blown up and sent home to their mothers in bags or tins, regrettably. Why? Because they will be treated as combatants by Mr. Putin's military machine. And you have been told that repeatedly. So, we can't really, and it's sad to say it in a way, we can't really expect it to go in any other way. And America is not going to invoke Article 5 when we start shipping the coalition of the stupid sons home in bags. And on this occasion, I'm in complete agreement with President Maloney. I wouldn't be sending any of my troops to this debacle. Let's face it, Russia's beaten America and NATO together, because this is an American NATO war. You've lost that, and now you're going to go it alone, Europe. We are being led by donkeys. Your thoughts, or your 2 pence, or your 3 cities, or your declining dollar price. Are you of the opinion that you believe that Mr. Trump is trying to support Mr. Putin, as opposed to looking at politics real, which is that Russia is winning the war and therefore winners dictate terms? Or are you of the opinion that the Ukraine has and can and continue to win this conflict with the support of Europe, despite the fact they've lost so far against, they've already lost? Let's not forget there's going to be a massive Russian offensive in the summer. That was the reason why they're pushing for the freeze. So, or what's your thoughts? Where are you on this? Give me your thoughts. Give me your 3 cities. Oh, I forgot to say, don't forget that Mr. Trump has got absolutely no time for Ursula von der Leyen. And let's see if she cozies up to him, because he's going to the Pontiff's funeral on Saturday, and so is she. I'm sure that's going to be her only opportunity for a photo op. But, the Europeans are kind of out of the game. They're insignificant in the world order in a way that they were not 20 years ago. So do you honestly think that Europe can beat Russia in this conflict? Do you think that Russia is even going to agree to a freeze or an annexation of Ukraine in the same way that effectively they annexed Haiti? They cut it in half and turned half of it into the Dominican Republic. And same way they did with Germany. You had East and West Germany. Same way they did with North and South Korea, making the other country a client state of the metropolis, effectively, being another agent of American imperialism while the other side of the country isn't. Do you think that's going to work out? Or do you think that the Europeans are going to deploy troops, boots on the ground to guard the Black Sea? Do you think that's even going to happen? And even if it does, do you think they will invoke Article 5 when those sons, our sons, from across the coalition of the stupid, because it's only going to be the poor that's going to be rocked up to be blown up and be cannon fodder. Do you think that that's going to be the outcome, that essentially they'll be treated as combatants because essentially they're invading sovereign land, which is effectively parts of Russia, or that's where they're going to take it anyway? So what do you think about that? Give me your thoughts. Give me your 3 pence, your 3 cedis on your declining dollar price. My God, this is 10 minutes. I'm going to shut it down. Let me know what you think. Jump up in the YouTube, become a subscriber, make a donation, and come back next week. See ya. Thanks for listening. Bye.